And welcome to the Bad Gamecast. This is Jake.
This is Jason.
This is Alex.
And we're here to talk about Shaq Fu.
On Super Nintendo.
Oh, on Super Nintendo.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we all played it.
Yeah. For whatever definition that holds.
Did we all beat it?
I beat it.
Eventually, yeah. I had to set it to easy, because...
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. I told you, I just played through with all the characters.
Well, let's go through the story.
The story.
Yeah. Story mode. So there is, 3 modes. Dual, story, and tournament.
Whoa. You're forgetting options.
And versus. Versus, come on now.
So the story mode is you play as Shaq.
It doesn't even really look like him, for the record. I mean, it's just a random black guy in gym shorts.
Yeah, it's generic black guy in what you could assume is Tokyo because they say Tokyo, even though you find a kung fu dojo.
It very much looks like China.
Where you're greeted by an old man. Any of you guys catch what the old man's name is?
No.
It's Leontis.
Leontis. Stereotypical as hell.
That's not an actual name, so... he mistakes Shaq for the... Oh man, what is it? The
magic one.
Yeah, well, the magic one because he was on the Orlando Magic at the time, and the player from the Stars because he was an all-star.
Right, yeah. Why is Shaq in Japan in the first place?
Oh, it was for the All-Star game. I just assumed he thought he was magic.
Is not held overseas.
No.
Well.
Is there even a Japanese basketball league? I don't think so.
There might be, but it's not very big. The much bigger basketball league overseas is China.
Yeah, right.
China has a really big
and
basketball.
Europe, and Middle East.
I just assumed that he assumed that Shaq was magic because it's got to be the first black man he's ever seen.
Well, wouldn't surprise me. He kind of reminds me of Pai Mei from Kill Bill.
Oh, okay. Without the glorious super long eyebrows?
Right.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, I feel like they missed an opportunity there. Although this game did come out before Kill Bill.
Yeah, 1994.
Made by EA. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh, yeah.
Published by
EA, right.
Made by Delphine Software?
Right. Rest in peace.
Design lead, Paul Cuisset. So, thanks, Paul. Thank you very much.
I wonder what he's doing these days.
Rotting somewhere, I imagine.
Working the 7-Eleven. Oh, is that the dude that delivered your curry?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we got the story pinned down. And, he's got
not even.
He's got to save some kid, right?
He's got to save Nezu?
Some kid we've never met needs saving.
Yeah, Nezu, the old man tells you some little boy needs saving, and then it's not explained who the old guy is or who the boy is, but you get the impression that Shaq's the only person dumb enough to fall for this trick, because he just goes right in the back like, let's do this.
Well, and let's not forget that in real life, Shaq thinks he's a police officer.
Wait, he's not?
No, I mean, he kind of is. He's running for sheriff these days, I've heard. But yeah, it's funny because it's very much like him to think he can come in here and save the day.
Shaq's life is an outrageous tale. From start to finish.
All right, look, if Steven Seagal can be a bounty hunter, why the hell can't Shaq be a sheriff?
Right. Shaq needs elected. Steven Seagal's freelance.
And so you go on through, on the Super Nintendo version, 6 fights.
Yep.
6 whole fights. I suppose the first couple go at whatever order you do them in, because there's, 3 up front?
Yeah, you can fight them in any order. There's I forget her name.
There's Kaori. She's about 15% furry, which is right where I like them.
She's like Catgirl.
Yeah,
she's not bad. She's not bad.
Then there's the prince with his swords.
Raja.
Sure. That's not stereotypical.
Poor man's Aladdin.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Mephis, the undead sorcerer.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Another pushover. The 2 guys are pushovers at the beginning. The woman is that first real hindrance to finishing the game, at least for me. I mean, she was just a royal pain in the ass, and she's a whole lot quicker than Shaq is when he's running through mud trying to do Shaq Fu.
Well, I found that if you pin her in a corner and kick the shit out of her like you do with any cat, you take her out real quick.
Oh.
And then after that, you have to go in order. So the next one up is Voodoo, who what I can only imagine is what the creators of the game thought a sexy voodoo priestess would look like. And then you get to Beast, who is my favorite character model in this whole game. Because he's like a mix between Carnage from Spider-Man and Cinder from Killer Instinct. That's fucking sweet.
By the way, did you notice the headshots for the characters in the top left and right-hand corner?
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. Like, what was the cat bitch's name?
Kaori?
Yeah, she has this expression she makes when she beats you, because I saw it a lot. And it's terrifying. Like, her eyes disappear, and she opens her mouth, and she's like some weird fucking beast at that point. When she's making that face at you. I don't know what her deal is.
She does that when she gets the Fury mode active,
yes.
too. And can you explain to me what the hell Fury mode is?
No.
So I mean, I looked it up afterwards because I had no idea what it does. I don't have any idea what a lot of things in this game do or why they happen. It increases your damage, but...
By how much?
No idea. But the only way to activate Fury mode is to get the shit kicked out of you.
Well, I mean, that's easy enough when you play it, because that's going to happen.
Yeah, so, like, the Fury bar fills up as you take damage. So, like...
Well, by the time you... And this was another point I wanted to make, is how short the timer is on these rounds. And so by the time you've gotten your ass kicked long enough to unlock Fury mode, the match is over.
Yeah, I had to change the timer. For some of the fights, I couldn't win in time.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah. I was good on 60 seconds, but I was just rushing them as best I could with fucking Shaq. The last fight is Set, who is the boss, who is an armored mummy from another dimension, it mentions. And then after you kill Set, well, you don't actually kill anybody, which is weird. I mean, you beat them up, and then you see them beat up.
Well, I want to point something out here. Did you try any cheats?
If by cheats you mean go through the story mode as a different character?
No. There is a cheat you can enter through input, and it basically unlocks the violence and the blood. And, I tried it once, and the only real difference is that it unlocks quasi-finishing moves.
Huh.
So, there's one that I tried, it only works on the non-human enemies, where basically if they're just about to die, you punch them in the face. Shaq does this new finishing technique, and it's supposed to be kind of like a fatality. It just doesn't quite get there. I mean, some of the fatalities are still very much PG, but it only works in the cheap mode because it's something they removed for the censors.
Okay, well, I saw that you could turn blood on. I just wondered where the lethal part of the lethal Shakido comes in, because all you do is, you don't even knock anybody out, you just kind of like beat them up and then talk a little smack at the end of a fight. Mm-hmm. Oh, right. So, the end of the game, right? Mm-hmm. You rescue Niru, because the old man is senile and got his name wrong. Because the little boy says his name is Niru, and then the old man and the boy go to the All-Star game to watch Shaq play, and who's on the court? But Beast, standing there, just waiting for another piece of that action. And you know what really drove me crazy about that? Is no one on the court seems surprised that there's this literal monster just waiting to play some fucking basketball. Everybody seems really fucking cool with it.
They just assume it's another friend of Shaq's.
I mean, I've never been to Tokyo. I imagine that all of Japan's like that. I mean, it's just fucking Oni running around like crazy, right?
At least in the 90s.
Yeah.
We cleaned things up lately. I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
He's just a member of the Monstars. He's,
Oh my god.
Oh no. That's a different franchise altogether!
What about that overworld map?
Yeah, I liked the overworld map at first, and then you really caught how limited it was as soon as you start to move around.
I mean, I thought it looked pretty good. It handles fine. I mean, it's an interesting way to move from one fight to the next. You play other fighters, and it's not really that creative. So, like in Mortal Kombat, it's like, ladder mode, whatever it is, you just climb up the ladder of the roster of fighters. So, I mean, I thought it was kind of cool. I mean, I kept getting the feeling while I was playing this game, it kind of falls in between Nintendo and Super Nintendo in terms of quality of visuals and audio. Even though this game came out in 94, I kept thinking when I would hear some of the sound effects, for example, it's 8-bit sound effects.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be. It sounds terrible, especially some of the voices and the sound effects. Just, not good.
I liked the music. For most of the stages and the overworld, I didn't hate it, and I thought, graphically, it looks alright. I mean, it was made in 94. It's okay.
I don't know. I wasn't, supremely turned off by the looks. It's old. I didn't expect the graphics to be good. They weren't good.
No.
The sound it's very 8-bit and never really grated against me, but it wasn't good. I was like, man, this is something that really puts me in the place of fighting, and it was background music. It was whatever.
Yeah, no, the music didn't get me fucking pumped or anything. I wasn't going into a stage thinking, oh, this music's so fucking sweet. But it was okay. I mean, I enjoyed it as I was listening to it while I was getting the shit kicked out of me by some bullshit enemies.
But yeah, so that's I found all that stuff okay, which is the issue when the controls.
Oh man.
So Shaq handles
he moves less like a professional athlete and more like a woman in her mid-50s with a hip replacement.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. If you had tied lead to every part of his body, he is so slow and clunky that it doesn't make sense.
Have you ever seen Shaq play basketball?
No.
Yes.
So, the one thing I kept having an issue with was the lack of his reach, unless you're kicking.
Yeah.
You could kick someone with good range on that, but if you're punching is almost useless.
And his tiny little T-Rex arms.
Exactly right. I was going to say he handles like a Tyrannosaurus Rex that's stuck in a fucking tar pit. But the punching is useless. And if you watch Shaq in real life, the dude is 7'1", and he's got a long wingspan. The dude's a monster, so he should be the biggest motherfucker in this game, and he kind of looks like the same size as everybody else. So the punching is just absolutely useless, and it's just...
Well, you're talking about his range on kicks. Did you have it where you would constantly kick right over the enemy's head?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Literally everyone, unless they were the same height as Shaq?
Yeah, no, with the cat girl, whatever her name
Kaori.
was. Yeah, sure.
I'm not going to remember it.
I will never remember it. I'm hoping to wipe this game from my memory as soon as this is over.
Mm-hmm. Until we play the sequel.
Oh, goodness.
We'll get to that.
But, half your attacks would just go over her head, because she's this small little cat girl, and you'd be like, attack, and you'd miss. And she'd just sit there and hit you, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
So are the sprites different sizes? I mean, can we confirm that? Because obviously Shaq is a different size, but hitboxes, are they different? Were you able to tell?
Yes, but not in a very scientific manner. I mean, you're standing next to your opponent and you do the strong kick, which is the high kick. Goes right over Kaori's head.
Yes.
However, the main boss said you can kick him right in the face every time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's going to block. You can't block, but they can block. Whatever.
You can try to block.
Yeah.
Were you guys able to pull off a block? Because I sure as fuck wasn't.
Occasionally.
Yeah, I thought so.
You just hold backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it blocks stuff.
Literally never worked for me.
Oh, or the magic shield that you can summon to block projectiles.
What? No.
Did you not get that? No.
I've done the magic shield.
Yeah.
It didn't actually do anything.
It blocks projectiles. That's all it does.
Oh, my God.
You hold down and, the left bumper, and you have a glowing bubble around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shaq has magic. Don't worry about it.
No.
And it just blocks all projectiles.
Well, that's the team he played for, right?
Yeah.
So,
the magic one.
You guys say Kaori is very memorable, but if you let the game sit at the start menu, you get bios on all the characters. Did you guys read any of them?
No.
The characters' bios are so much more interesting than the entire game. Kaori, case in goddamn point, is from an alien planet.
Thank God.
And the only reason why she's fighting for Set is because she's got this enchanted ring on where she has no will.
Yeah, she's been mind controlled. You learn that when you beat her.
Yeah, when she's like, thank you for setting me free, but that's all you get out of it.
Yeah.
So you have to whoop her ass first just so you can take the ring off?
Yeah.
Can't just steal her ring?
No, you gotta beat her into the ground first. That's how we do.
Okay.
Well, he's a basketball player, so... Or Raja, right? A young mystic and swordsman, he, and I quote, submitted to Set's will while exploring the nether regions with his spirit. What the fuck is the nether regions?
There's so much more to this game than what you see.
Mephis, that gross-looking motherfucker, his was actually pretty standard. I mean, Undead Sorcerer was one Set's apprentice. Voodoo, is Haitian. That's what she's got going on.
Okay.
Oh.
Nice.
Of course. I mean, if you're going to have a voodoo priestess, you gotta make them from the Caribbean.
Yep. Never mind. So, Beast was created by Set Shadow. Or Set made Beast out of a shadow. And then Set himself is a mummy from another dimension, which is literally never brought up, but, like, what's going on there? Like, dude's 3,000 years old, right? Like, there's got to be some cool shit going on. Not important.
No, kidnapping this small child is important.
Well, what's his motive?
Kidnapping small child?
Yeah, why does he have this one fucking child? Like, what is he going to do? What's so special about this child? Is this child the chosen one? Doesn't matter.
We've never met him before.
No, we don't know.
This, you know what? The enemy of this game is that old man at the beginning, Pai Mei. He's the enemy of the fucking game. He's sending you on errands for no fucking reason. He's just a bad parent. Like, this kid you've never met, does he have any powers? Any reason that he can be valuable? Any reason to pick this kid up at all? Or is he just some kid and, like, whatever? The
Super Nintendo version, all you get is him saying, thank you for saving me, and then Pai Mei and him at the basketball game at the end. That's it.
Congratulations. Nothing like that. No thank you for playing.
No.
Please try again. None of that shit. They don't even thank you for playing.
Nope. See you next time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
There'll be plenty of next times.
Yeah. I don't remember what the, like, last title card is at the end of the game before the credits roll because my eyes were bleeding.
So, I guess, is Shaq dumb enough to just play along with this? Or is he just, fucked up? I mean, is he on some kind of drug here? He's just thinking this is normal activity for someone at an all-star game? There's clearly a backstory here. All the characters have interesting backstories. But what about this fucking kid and Shaq? What's Shaq's backstory?
Well, besides being the founder of Shaquito.
Yes. And destroyer of backboards, I guess. I mean, he just... Okay.
Yeah, no, Shaq is given actual magical powers. So, this is like an alternate reality Shaq where people just have magic.
Or maybe not. Maybe Shaq really does have magic.
Maybe he does. I don't,
Shaq Diesel.
If Shaq had magic, I would have actively watched basketball.
Well, he played for Orlando.
Yeah, but I grew up in a Bulls house.
Oh.
Chicago all day.
Ooh, not touching that one. All right.
It's just the tone of this game really is inconsistent. Because I was trying to think of, like, whose idea was it to actually make this game? Do you think Shaq had any input on this whatsoever?
I think, what is his name? Paul Cuisant?
Yep.
Came to Shaq. And I don't even think he came to Shaq, judging by the sprite. I think he just put in a basketball player and it's like, shop that one out. Hey, who wants a fighting game? And Shaq's like, oh, I'll do it.
Whose jersey sold the best in 1994?
Well, that's, I think, entirely like, it was just, let's get a big name basketball star. So, yeah, in 1994, there were multiple other basketball star video games. Mm-hmm. Charles Barkley had one, Michael Jordan had one, Scottie Pippen had one, all in 1994.
Scottie Pippen?
Yeah.
Were they all basketball games?
No.
Oh.
Okay, so what's Michael Jordan's game?
Michael Jordan, Chaos in the Windy City.
What the fuck?
Please be a beat 'em up.
It's gotta be.
Beat 'em up.
Gosh, it's... looking at its Wikipedia here, is a two-dimensional platform game.
Oh.
Collecting keys and defeating enemies.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'd play that. Okay, so that's MJ. What about Barkley and whoever the fuck else you mentioned? Pippen, right?
Larry Bird.
Barclays is a basketball game.
Okay. All right. Well, he's serious. So okay.
So that's and then Slam City with Scottie Pippen.
Slam City.
Racing. Come on, racing.
Slam City, also known as your mom's bedroom.
Ooh, sick bird.
I'm talking to you, the viewer.
Is one-on-one basketball.
Of a podcast.
So it is also a basketball. It's a one-on-one basketball.
Okay, all right, yeah. Dude.
So Shaq and MJ were like, fuck basketball games?
Yeah, why not? Like, I imagine that these studios made these games, and then were basically just trying to find a face for their game.
Yeah.
That they were like, let's make a basketball star video game. Everyone else is doing it, super trendy, and then we'll figure out who it is later. I don't think Shaq had probably any input. I might be wrong, and he steered the game in its terrible direction. But...
Oh, hold on. Let's get Shaq on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I get the inclination that he was aware of this, and that because it's kind of got that absurdity, like that goofiness to it that does seem to be a part of Shaq's personality. Now, I'm not saying that he was there to write it or that he had any kind of creative control. I'm pretty sure they just handed him a check. But the whole Shaq Fu and the Shaqito and all that extra just goofy shit, it feels like he might have mentioned that. Like, those are buzzwords, I think, in his vocabulary.
Do you think Shaq intentionally puts his name into other words?
Yes.
Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, like Shaq or... Have you seen all this Shaq?
No, I absolutely have not.
So many commercials and just things that Shaq is in, and his name goes on everything.
Oh. So he's like Gene Simmons?
Sure.
Timely.
I'm looking up Shaq endorsements.
Yeah, there's a ton of them.
Okay, so this is from SI.com, just a few of these things that he has endorsed in his career.
Tampons, boxing gloves, running shoes, underwear.
Sleep apnea mask.
Makes sense.
A sugar substitute.
Shacked up.
Something called a Shack Down app. I mean, Toys R Us he's endorsed.
Well, you gotta get up to Shack Down.
He even had a phone.
Oh.
That was awful. He even had a phone.
Oh my god, he had a phone! Where can I get one?
It's called a black phone.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
By Geek's Phone.
Okay. He's got his own fitness club. I mean, he's all over the fucking place. Chris Christie.
Shaq is really Chris Christie?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Wow, Chris Christie's good at basketball.
No.
No. I mean, the internet's ruined me. When I think Shaq, all I think of is terrible memes.
Shimmying?
Yeah, the wiggle or the one with like the little points where he's just like jerking all around.
Yeah, that's from his broadcasting career.
Okay. I are a sport fan.
Yes, you're very big in sports.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway. Oh, I did like the leaderboard. Another reason that makes me believe this game was probably pitched to an arcade at one point. There's leaderboards and then there's those credits.
Yeah.
It's all just kind of pointless, but it's there. I'm at the top of my own personal leaderboard.
Good job.
Yep, thank you. But it's little things like that I thought were kind of funny.
Did you guys spend any time with any of the other characters?
1 to 2 fights.
Yeah, basically just trying them for a fight.
Yep.
I personally found every other character usable except for Shaq.
That makes sense.
Probably, yeah. I think I would agree with that. He's just too slow.
And he doesn't hit as hard as he should for as fucking slow as he is.
I mean, there's a reason 7-foot, 400-pound basketball players aren't studying kung fu very commonly anymore.
Well, back in the day, that was just...
They're all over.
After the massacre, yeah.
But no, it's just... It doesn't happen. Everybody else outclasses him, but yet he still kicks everybody's ass regardless. After multiple attempts. Okay. Were you able to try out any multiplayer?
No. I don't hate anyone enough to ask if they wanted to come over blind and play Shaq Fu.
Right. I tried getting my girlfriend to do it. She wouldn't touch it.
She was right.
She watched me play it.
Yeah, no. Good move on her part.
All right, so who is this game marketed towards, then?
Yes?
You have to imagine, back at the time, it's marketed towards people who like fighting games and recognize Shaq as a person.
Shaq is a person.
That feels like a specific demographic.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Well, that's who it might be marketed towards, and then it got mediocre reviews when it came out, which was...
But not bad.
No, it was surprising. There were actually multiple reviews that were kind of like 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10 area, just saying it was kind of an average game, which it's not. It's real bad.
No. Well, what were some of the other fighting games out in the early 90s?
Oh, goodness.
Wasn't the first Mortal Kombat ported in the early 90s?
I believe so.
Yeah. Was there Tekken yet? I don't think Tekken came out till PS1.
Yep, PS1. Street Fighter 2 was out on the Super Nintendo.
Street Fighter 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm wondering, they had to have reviewed Shaq Fu, within the context of the era. So, comparing it to other fighting games...
Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken...
Nailed it.
Those are what was around the same time.
So kind of golden era for fighting games. Really. I mean, those 3 games are epic.
Yeah, I mean, Shaq Fu is right up there with the best of them.
Well, it's top 4.
Yeah, by default.
Well, so there goes my theory. How could they rate that an average game when you have Mortal Kombat and Tekken and Street Fighter 2 in your hand? And here's Shaq Fu. This isn't that bad.
EA paid them?
Yeah, there's no way. It massively pales in comparison to those games.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say, so you played the Sega version, right?
Yes.
So from what I've read, that is significantly better.
Yeah, I enjoy the Sega version. It's not bad at all, and it plays well, and there's more characters. And I haven't beaten it, but it made sense. But we're not here to talk about the Sega version.
No. It's just worth mentioning that there was, in theory, a version of the game that wasn't terrible. And then, it got published on multiple systems, including the Super Nintendo, which was the version we're reviewing, and the Super Nintendo version is terrible.
God, yeah, it is.
I mean, it's actually slightly better than the Game Boy version, which I did play. Oh, no. That should never see the light of day.
It's
not even color, right?
No. And you only have 2 buttons because it's the Game Boy, and there's no... there's voices and stuff in this one. No, there's none of that in the game. Strip out so much stuff, but it's still, super clunky and hard to do anything with. That they take any interesting or redeeming factors away from it, and it's the distilled worst.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Alright, so you mentioned, really quickly, the controls of the Genesis version are better, right?
They feel a lot smoother, yes.
So... what is different? I mean, you say it's smoother. Is it the movement speed? Has it been adjusted, or is it just more balanced, maybe?
I couldn't... again, I didn't put that much time into it, so I can only give you my my initial impressions. So, I don't know that the movement speed is that much faster, but it does feel like there's flow to all of your moves. So, you don't just, kick and then stand there like you do on the Super Nintendo one before you hit another button where you do a move and then you stop and then you wait for the next move. This one you can actually pull off a couple hits at a time instead of praying for a quick death.
So it's more fluid. It's not as disjointed.
Yeah, it feels a lot smoother.
Huh.
And the opening area, instead of 3 fights to choose from, there is 6.
It's always interesting, because you have a lot of cases like that throughout history of games that It came out over multiple platforms, but there are differences. And like I told you a couple days ago, that these days that doesn't happen. A game comes out on PS4 and Xbox One, they're identical.
Well, they'd have to be, or people would fucking riot.
Yeah, so back in the 90s, you had that whole console war nonsense, and you had Shaq Fu. You say is different, and then Aladdin is another prime example of games that people always mention. Better on one system than the other. I just think it's interesting how that has kind of just stopped. It just doesn't happen anymore.
Well, I mean, this generation, PlayStation 1, so I don't think the console wars ended. We've just moved on. But you can't have different games anymore and then call it the same thing because, with our rage culture, people will just lose their shit and they're just waiting to do it.
All right, well, anything else about Shaq Fu you want to mention?
Don't play this game.
I was going to ask, would you recommend it at all to anybody?
So, for me, that's easy. I would never tell anyone to play this game. I did not enjoy it at all from start to finish at any point. I made myself play it for this, but I would not recommend it. It was terrible.
I absolutely would, just so I could watch somebody play and see the look on their face. But not because I think anyone would enjoy it, because no one will. All right, so what would you rather be doing than play this game? Oh, that's fun.
Anything?
Yeah.
As I said, I really did not like
Hold on. Would you rather watch Kazam?
Yes.
Kazam is entertaining as hell.
Oh.
Did not like this game. And the fact that it's now going to have a sequel is hilarious.
It'll be a beat 'em up.
Supposedly.
PS4, Xbox One, PC, I think.
I think that's their goal.
Legitimately, after playing through it, I'm kind of excited to see what they do with a beat 'em up. It can't be worse.
Well, it can't be worse.
This is all assuming it sees the light of day.
Yeah. I assume because it was, crowdfunded, was that 3 years ago now? Who knows if it's what it's being made? Like, they crowdfunded it. We've seen tons of crowdfunding things go belly up.
Even after they meet their goal.
Oh, yeah. And so, it's been 3 years. I have no idea if they're actually close at what they're doing with it.
Well, Shaq himself said it's happening.
He did.
So I imagine him in his basement writing code for this fucker.
God, I hope so.
Oh, see, now that I might be interested in, just to see how hackneyed it is.
So what programming language is Shaq going to use?
Well, it's clearly going to be his own programming language.
He's going to make his Shaquito.
Shaquito.
I don't know. I'll give it a shot. I mean, there's no chance it sees a hard physical release, right? I mean,
like, if it's just digital only,
I'm picturing $5 PlayStation Store.
I'm in on that for $5.
Oh, yeah.
That's my limit, though.
It can't
hard limit.
It can't be worse than some of the shovelware they put out. It was fucking like the new Power Rangers game that came out with the most recent film. It's awful.
Yeah.
The all-female Ghostbusters game.
That last Godzilla one.
Yeah. Now I imagine that the basically they made their goal off of the name of both Shaq and this original game for being notably historically bad.
Yes.
That all the reviews that have happened recently, people re-review things have panned this game hard for good reason. It's terrible, but the name of this is one of the worst games of all time. People are like, oh, well, they're trying to make a new one. Let's fund it because it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's funny and it's so bad it's good. You hear that all the time.
I agree with that on some things. This ain't that.
No. I mean, this is a game that clearly has technical flaws. The creative decisions behind it are over the top and stupid, and that's okay and fun. But the technical limitations are clear. And I mean, what are your major gripes about the game? Are they all tied to how it handles and how it looks and how it sounds?
I don't have a problem with how it looks.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with how it sounds.
Well, fuck then.
My problem is there's 6 fights in the story. And, okay, fighting game story, you get what you get, right? But 7 whole characters in the game, which, well, shit. How many are in Mortal Kombat, the original? Yeah, there ain't that fucking many.
No.
Oh, wait, but Mortal Kombat does it good, whereas Shaq Fu is hard. It's hard to control, and the AI is just better than you in all ways, shapes, and forms. Oh, and the final fucking boss, which hits 4 times as hard as literally everybody else for no goddamn reason. That's my problem with it.
Technical. Like, you don't have an issue with the story.
What
besides it's absurd and that it's, you know, it's got some holes to it.
Well, it's all whole, but no, I don't mind that it's absurd. Fuck yeah, let's do that. We're playing a game where you play as Shaq, who is suddenly a martial arts master. Fuck yeah, let's get weird.
Does he play basketball at all before the end?
No.
Yeah.
Is there even a basketball on screen during the game?
His special attack.
Okay.
His ranged attack is a magic basketball that he summons and throws at people.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Shaq Hurricane?
Yeah, it's a basketball.
Well, what would you expect him to throw? His shoes?
Money. His shoes.
Was he a size 21 shoe?
His shoes would do some serious damage.
Throw that shit like a boomerang? Yeah.
Because I guess I'm getting at, like, if they come out with a sequel and it doesn't have the technical limitations of the first, is there a chance it could be good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you remade just this game, not like made a sequel like they're doing, which is a completely different genre, you could remake this game and have it not be terrible. It's just, I don't know why you would.
You can get it, though, for the Genesis. Like, they did it, and it worked there. It's not even technical limitations. It's because there's fighting games on the Super Nintendo that do it properly. They just fumbled. Or, that's not a basketball analogy. I don't know, basketball something.
I'm not even going to touch it.
No, I want to see him keep going. This is like...
Can you teach me how to play basketball?
Yeah, that's where, I don't know how you get the horse in the water, but then you spike it over the hoop, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep. And then you try to tackle as many people as you can.
Yeah, but so long as you've got your left hand on the ball. Because if it's right, it doesn't count.
Okay.
Sports.
Cool. Alright, well, I don't think I've got anything else.
I definitely don't have anything else.
Alright, well, fuck, what are we going to do next time? Can we all eat a bunch of White House and just fart the whole time, too?
Dude, I'm not going to stop at farting.
Mom, get the bucket!
Splat. Okay. So, Jake, where can people find you if they want to get a hold of you?
Oh, they can...
Oh, right. We should probably look into that. We just have, like, an email address for the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Figured, like email and Twitter?
Yeah.
Alex, want to do it one more time?
So, Jake, where can people get a hold of you if they want to send you some hate mail?
Oh, well, people can get a hold of me at my Twitter at King of Wolves, which is KING0FWO1VES, because I'm a pain in the ass. Or my YouTube channel. I love any comment I can get. Alex, how about you?
You can reach me on Twitter at 10RulesAll. It's also my YouTube channel, 10RulesAll. And Twitch, twitch.tv/10RulesAll. And that's about it. What about you, Jason?
You can't find me. Yep.
Wonderful.
All right, good night, everybody!
All right, thanks for listening.